Well, we got a new package here. This came in the mail today. Actually, we have a couple of them. I'm not really sure what this is, so we'll open that up. Got Jeff the Canuck on the TV. This is one of the latest videos. Let's see what we got here. Alrighty. I know what we got here. Hopefully still in one piece. Let's see here. See if we can hold this camera. Alright. Old Philco 47205. This is a pretty cheap purchase off of eBay for some reason. Collectors don't like this kind of fake leather finish on here, but I kind of dig it. And oh, that grill is just almost laser straight. That's pretty good. Let's see. Oh, dial string is connected. That's excellent, because I'm not very good at restringing these. And the plastic dial lens is very clear. This radio is not in bad shape at all. Oh boy. Let's see what it does when we plug her in. Okay, the seller had already indicated that he has already turned this radio on. And a quick check in the back shows that the tubes are in place. So let's see what happens when we power it up. Well, working dial light, that's always a good thing. No smoke, no crackling. Okay, well. Alright, so right off the bat the filter caps are completely dried out, so I think we know what this is going to need. A full recap. I have a photo fact on the way, and we'll tear into it and change out some capacitors, or probably do them all. Check the tubes, give it an alignment, and give it a good cleaning here, although it's not in bad shape, and then we'll see how it plays. Okay, here we are back with the 47205. I think we're going to take this apart and see what we could do with this. I'm stuck in my kitchen here. My shop has currently got a problem with water as snow melts outside, so we're stuck working in the kitchen here. But let's pull this back off and see what we've got to work with here. Alright, we got the photo fact here finally. Actually, I shouldn't say finally. This gentleman out of Illinois sent these off pretty quick here, actually. But I have the riders for this radio, but now we've got the photo fact too, which will be a lot easier to read. And it has photographs of the chassis, which I kind of need, because when you get into a radio that looks like it's been messed around with by somebody else, nice to know what it was originally, plus a good parts list here. The old flip cam here never focuses very close, but anyway, you guys know what a photo fact is. And a nice schematic as well. That's awesome. Alright, now we can get rolling on this radio once and for all. Okay, right off the bat, I see a couple of things here that I don't particularly care for. I got the other camera here so we can zoom in and hopefully focus. But that's one thing right there that kind of gets me, is this antenna wire, which is kind of just hanging out there in free space like that. And of course hitting the chassis. This is a hot chassis radio. That's never good. And that is connected properly as far as I can tell to the tuning capacitor. But then we have this wire up here kind of coming down and meandering and going all over the place, and it just goes right to that screw. That's a little suspect. Have to look at the schematics and figure this all out. But generally, it looks like we have a relatively clean radio to work with here. It looks like everything is there. 1, 2, I think 3 original tubes and 2 replacements. Looks like a couple of Sylvanias here. It's definitely been serviced. There was a service sticker from Denver, Colorado on the back. So this line cord, somebody changed this at some point. This is actually in very good condition. It almost looks new. But they didn't do anything else with the radio. That's kind of interesting. Let's pull the chassis, see what we got here. Okay, got the chassis out here. Let's take a quick peek around. Speaker looks pretty good. Dial looks pretty good. Dial light's in place, that's good. Back in the cabinet there, you can see that it's been hot glued. I don't know if I'll change that lens out or not. It's fairly clear, as you can tell by the water bottle behind it. But a little dirt. That'll clean out some compressed air. But my goodness, look at that. Right off the bat, we have electrical tape holding together the AC cord. Somebody just literally cut the old one, ran a new one in, and taped it together. You know, sometimes when I take a chance plugging these radios in, I absolutely marvel at what I find after the fact. You'd think I would learn my lesson, but I don't. All original capacitors in this thing, all original resistors, all original wiring. Nothing looks terribly bad. Nothing looks burnt or anything. It's always a good sign. Before we really get into this radio though, I think what I am going to do is fix that, or at the very least wire nut it so I can test this thing out before I get too deep into it. And we're going to change out this filter capacitor as well, and then we'll run it and we'll see if this thing is worthy of any more additional work. I think we have a winner here, but we'll see. Plus I have to see what we got in here for parts as far as recapping this thing and make an order. So okay, that's it for now. Well, the radio didn't take too long to recap, and everything is looking pretty good in there, at least as far as I can tell. The only thing that I am not too fond of is this particular one right here. This is a bit of a floater, but it doesn't really have anything to bump into, and it's not going anywhere. So, and we got the cable tie on there. That holds those two pretty secure, the two electrolytics there. And everything else is okay. I didn't find any replacement capacitors. But the solder joints were pretty messy, especially on the tube sockets there, some of the posts on the tube sockets. A lot of solder, so this was built in a, I'm guessing, in a fairly good hurry here. But that's that. We're gonna plug her in and see what happens here. Okay, got the knobs on for safety. It does have a new polarized plug on it, but I don't trust these transformerless sets, so we put the knobs on them just in case. Well, there's no hum. That's a good sign. I don't have an aerial on here. I just have a little clip lead hooked onto one of the antenna lugs here, so I don't know if it'll actually get anything. We'll find out. Well, we have audio. That's a good sign too. Let's see what we got. Kind of weak, but again, I don't really have much of an antenna on here. That's the transmitter that I use in the house here. That's why it's playing classical at the moment on AM 1070. So the dial is reasonably accurate here. Let's see if we can pull one of the 50,000 watt stations in. Should be. That's up all the way. I'm not getting much of any. We're not even getting static on this. Well, that would be the strongest signal anyway in the house here. It is receiving it, so maybe we'll have better luck when we have the actual antenna hooked up and hooked up properly. And it looks like we have a tuning capacitor that needs to be cleaned as well. Yep. Well, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. This radio does work. Let's get this thing back in the cabinet. Or actually, what we're going to do first is an alignment with the RF generator, and then we'll get it back in the cabinet. Okay, we're going to do the rest of this video with the flip cam, just because it's a little easier to manage. Got the RF generator hooked up, or a signal generator rather, whatever you want to call it. Got it set to 455. I want to put a tone on it and a modulated signal, and we'll switch over to modulated signal, and we'll put it up to about 75 or so. Our output level, switch it over to level dB. I forget how much. I think it's usually right around minus 30 or so. We'll start off with that. We'll see if this thing can detect it, and we'll get it hooked up. Okay, so here we are back at the kitchen counter again. We've reassembled the radio, front and back, as you can see here. We figured out how to put the antenna together, and we gave it a good IF alignment, but the RF alignment came out a little weird, and I will show you that here in just a second. Turn it on. while we wait for it to warm up, we'll notice that there is no hum so far. Always a good sign. This radio takes a while to warm up. I did replace a couple of the tubes. It's got a new power output tube. It's got a new IF and a new detector tube. Had them in stock. I said, why not? We'll throw them in there. All brand new, new old stock Sylvanias.
I saved. I worked hard, and I became the first in my family to graduate from college. The chance to go from my Washington to this one was unexpected. I came to Congress to help empower people, not politicians, to grow the working middle, not the government, and to ensure that everyone in this country can find a job. Because
that's local 810, but it comes up on the dial at about 850. And I tried several different alignment strategies on this one, and it just wasn't going to happen. I think the tuning capacitor is just a little bit funky, because anything below that, it just won't get, it just doesn't receive. But if you put the signal generator on 540 and tune this to 540, it's right on the money. So, or actually no, it's not really right on the money, it's a little off, but still. I don't know why it won't receive the upper end of the band here. No clue. Gets interference. Definitely gets the locally generated interference up there.
Oh God.
So we'll come down. It's our local transmitter.
Detroit is fascinating. The more I think about this proposal to bring in tens of thousands of people to repopulate Detroit, doesn't that kind of cut against the argument that...
And that's a little off too. That's supposed to be on 1540, and it's showing up around 1500. So the AM band is a little squashed.
Then the people will leave Detroit and go to cities where the policies are better for the people, right? And then Detroit ultimately learns its lesson, and Detroit can turn itself around. But this kind of inoculates states. So anytime a state screws
it does work.
Goes bankrupt, a city goes bankrupt, or a
it's
township
okay.
goes bankrupt, they don't really have to learn from their mistakes. They can just new people.
Loves his Washington Wizards. As the official pizza of the Washington Wizards, we want to party with the fans. When the Wizards win, you win. The day after every Wizards win with 100 points or more, you'll get a whopping 50% off menu prices on everything at Papa John's. Order online at papajohns.com and enter promo code WIZ50, and you'll slash menu prices in half on...
When hotshot recruit gets paid more money because his potential is better than yours, that kind of tension is...
Silver from...
Classic hits. CKDO, there's April Wine, and you won't dance with me. Weird Miracles as well with I Said Not Evil.
Time that you spend on this matter.
Raymond can do an Irish accent. Raymond,
So there you have it, the Philco 47205. Resurrected, not perfect, but resurrected.
Not bad, Raymond. I love your show on EWTN.
oh, you're the deal.
And it'll look good up on the shelf. So that's it for this edition. We've got another Philco restoration coming up.